If you're looking at DevOps job postings right now, you're going to see Git and version control as one line on the entire job posting. And it's going to be right there next to the bullet points for Terraform and Docker and Kubernetes and Ansible and CI/CD pipelines and all these other things. If you're like me, you're probably going to give it the same weight as those other bullet points. And what I didn't realize is that Git is actually the foundation, the bedrock of all of the work that you're going to be doing in DevOps for the next 8 years if you're like me. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Daryl. I'm a senior SRE, 16 years in IT and 8 years in DevOps. And today I want to give you the mental model, the loop that you're going to use Git for everything that you do in DevOps work, and an AI prompt that will get you started and merge your first PR in an afternoon. If you've been in IT for a while, you've already used a form of version control. Think of Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Drive. Whenever you upload a file inside of there, let's say a spreadsheet into Dropbox, it creates a version for you. You can change that spreadsheet and then it'll have another version for you. And interestingly enough, when I first started coding it all, I would upload my PowerShell, my Python scripts into a Dropbox to share between all of my computers. So if Dropbox covers that functionality, why is Git so popular? What is different about it that makes it such a pivotal piece of the tech stack? The key difference, and when I realized it, is that Dropbox doesn't give you any control about when a file actually does a save or creates a version for you, right? Like you make changes and it just shows up inside of there. You click a little drop down, you can choose which version you want to go back to. In Git, you have to choose and control that process down to a T. It's like an old video game where you have to go into a save menu and click save and choose what slot you wanted to save into the memory card versus a modern auto cloud save that just happens in the background while you're playing, and that's the last point you can go back to. The reason why Git is so important in code nowadays is because there's too much code being written to leave it to an automated process that doesn't have granular control over the whole thing. And let's take the situation where you and a friend or a coworker are working on the same spreadsheet file. You're both working on the top row in the top spreadsheet. Let's make it easy. How does Dropbox figure out which version to keep? It doesn't. You don't have any control over that. So it just creates two separate files for you and then says, hey, you guys got to go figure this out. And if you're like me, you're probably not watching it very closely. And then you end up with 7 different conflicted versions inside of that folder after 2 months or something like that. And you go, oh, shoot, how much information did I lose? With Git, all of that is done up front and it surfaces it very, very early. So you and your code developer or worker need to work through that change and all of those changes one by one explicitly in real time. So let's talk through the actual loop that you need to do in your daily work and why you need to do each step. The first thing you need to do is to create a branch. The branch allows you to create essentially a little parallel universe so you're not affecting other people's work. Next thing is to actually edit any changes you need to do. And of course, that's your work. Next thing is something called staging in Git. Staging itself allows you to choose which files you're actually going to be working on. After that is your commit. And you can think of this as your actual game save. So this is your save point inside of the video game. After the commit, you need to push. The push actually moves it up to GitHub or GitLab or whatever version control provider that you're using. This is essentially pushing it into the cloud so other people can be able to access it, at which point you're going to create a PR. Pull request, this can vary depending on the platform, but this is the thing that you're going to send to other people and say, hey, I've made changes over here. Would you please read over them and give me feedback on the work that I'm doing? At which point there's a review process happens here, and as they give you more feedback, maybe in comments on the PR or something, you may have to go back here to the edit and make more changes against this PR. The very last thing you do is to merge this change into the main branch, and this piece actually loops all the way back here over to a new branch when you start whatever new work that you have. I like to think of the work here in essentially 2 different buckets. That helps me to keep all the Git commands straight because there's just so many of them. And it splits very nicely right down the middle here. On the left side here, you've got version control. This is all of your rollback points, all of your save points, if you're thinking of these as game saves. the commits here. And this is how you can choose, when do I go back to this type of work? When do I go back to this particular change that I made? On the right-hand side here, this is all collaboration. This is working with other people and teammates that you need to be able to do things with. They're going to tell you whether you're actually checking on things, thinking about the problem correctly, and it rolls back. Now, why did I say that this is the foundation, the bedrock of the kind of work that you're going to be doing? This branching process and keeping code inside of a GitHub repository or Git repository, depending on your provider, it's always this process here every single day. If you're writing Terraform code, you're going to be doing this. If you're writing Ansible playbooks, you're going to be doing this. Is it Bash or Python scripts or CI/CD YAML or K8s manifests? It's all going to be a branch. You're going to edit, you're going to stage. Oh, and staging allows you to choose which files. You don't want everything inside of all of the save points necessarily right then. You may be working on some piece here that you're not quite ready to make a save point for. You're going to commit, you're going to push, PR, review, merge, roll back to the beginning. And sometimes you're going to jump around. It's not uncommon to say, I need to make a Terraform change, make a branch for that, do this whole process, and that leads me into making an Ansible change that the Terraform chains into. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. I know I've had a lot of conversations with people that are really scared about what AI is going to do to the industry, to DevOps, to software development, to work in general. I think this is probably one of the most incredible times for you to use this AI as a tool. And this is going to be the thesis of my channel. Yes, it's scary. It's a complicated time in the world right now, but you have things that you want to do. You want to get into DevOps work. I want people to experience the changes in my life and my family's life that I've been able to do because of this kind of work. And if I had an AI, here's what I would be doing with it. And that's why I'm giving you an AI prompt here today. This is going to be in the first link in the description. It is a school community that you can join that has actually a couple of these inside of there. So the first thing you're going to do is come over here. I want you to join the school community. It's totally free. There's no cost for it. And you're looking for the Git starter. I've got it pulled up here, but you'll go into the classroom. And there's two things here. The user guide is what you're going to read first. This tells you what you need to do. Not that long. This thing, the AI guide, is what tells the AI what we're going to do. You're going to copy this thing and you're going to take it over into Claude. And in Claude, you're going to paste it right in here. I've already done that for us here. And it's going to start talking you through exactly the steps that you need to do. This is very important. You must not allow Claude or ChatGPT or whatever AI you decide to do the repetitions for you. In the end, accountability is always going to lie with the person who's doing the work. You're going to be making these PRs, you're going to be making these code changes, even if in the future and as you get more proficient, you're using Claude to do some of these things. Claude Code is a great program. I use it every day. I use AI every day, but the responsibility for the work that comes out is still yours. And if you're just starting out, you need to do the repetitions, the actual work to get it to seep into your bones so you can remember it off the top of your head without having to rely on the AI. Because if you didn't know what was done, you didn't do it, the AI did. Now, I've already answered the very first questions that it had inside of the script. Yes, I've read the Git field guide. I'm using a Mac. I do have Git installed, and I already have a Git account. If you don't have a GitHub account, it will walk you through all of these things. These are prerequisites for the environment. No, okay, it says good, you're on set on prerequisites. It's going to ask me to copy gh-version. I would highly encourage you to type these commands in a terminal. So we've got gh-version, gh-version, and this is what I'm going to take back into Claude here. And as you go through each of these steps, it's going to walk you through step by step on exactly what you need to do. The next command is gh auth status to see exactly how I'm logged in. What this will continue to do is to ask you questions and you copy paste answers back and forth into it and walk you through the process of actually creating a Git repository, creating branches, actually making changes, all the way through making a PR, actually making a change that conflicts on a PR, what we talked about earlier on the spreadsheet in Dropbox. How do you resolve that? The AI is going to do that for you, because otherwise you'd have to do this with a person and you don't necessarily have the money to pay for that. In this case, I think this is what AI is really, really good for, is the immediate feedback loop that you learn as you go. But again, you must do the actual work for yourself. So this is the afternoon that I have for you. I've given you the prompt. It's going to be the first link in the description. You come and you join the school community here. You click on the classroom and the field guide is right here. If you haven't read that, you can read this first. The AI is going to direct you to read it just to get the mental model for how all of this works. Second, your starter is right here. And again, we've got the user guide and the AI guide. You copy this guy and you do the work. You really want to take it to the next level. After you run it with the AI giving you the instructions and spoon feeding you all the details you need to do, you close it down and you try to replicate in another repository, in another, like I said, you're going to be doing this over and over and over every single day. The repetitions are what's going to make you good at this and really let it soak in so you don't have to refer to it. If you want to know which areas to work on after this one, you should watch this video next. It'll map out exactly the areas that you need to do and tell you your 2 weakest ones to start picking up on. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.